What's good, everybody? Is when I come back at you on a video. So with this video, I wanted to talk about the topic of comparison and why you shouldn't be comparing yourself with other people, right? And for the title of this video, I have it here. This is a quote that I came across somewhere online. It says, "Compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not to who someone else is today." Now that is a powerful quote simply because it is 100% true, is entirely true, right? You've probably heard the saying, comparison is a thief of joy. And that statement is also entirely accurate because if you're constantly looking at what other people are doing, you're not going to enjoy or appreciate whatever it is that you have going on in your life, right? You're not going to be focusing on yourself and what you are building or what you are capable of building if you're constantly looking to the left and to the right of you for someone else, right? Either other people in your life, people that you're following on Instagram, etc. What you need to understand is that there are 8 billion people at this point. It might be 9, who knows, but there's at least 8 billion people, 8 billion other people on the planet. It is virtually impossible for you to be the absolute best at anything, right? Because there's so many people on the planet and so many skilled, talented individuals, you will always find someone that is doing better than you at something in some area of your life, right? And so you'll lose your mind trying to always keep up with everyone. It's just that simple, right? The point of you comparing, only focusing on comparing yourself to who you were yesterday and not to someone else, is that if you're comparing yourself to yesterday, then what you're focusing on is just progress. You're focusing on heading in the right direction, right? Are you continuing to move in the direction that you want to move? Are you continuing to grow and become the person that you're working towards being? Or are you heading in the right direction towards your goals and your dreams? That is what's most important, right? Because once again, in this lifetime, because there's 8 billion people on this planet, you will always find someone that's doing better than you at something in some area of your life. So you will literally go insane, losing your mind, trying to keep up with everyone, right? And I will give you an example. Some of you may believe that you're great cooks, right? Say you're home cooked or you're just great at cooking. You may feel that you're great at cooking until world renowned chef Gordon Ramsay walks in through the door and challenges you to cook off or something, where you're just, either competing with him or say you're shadowing him and watching him cook, right? You may think you're a great cook, and then either competing against him or watching him cook, right? After he does everything so easy and effortlessly because he's been cooking for several decades longer than you and he's trained under Michelin starred chef, right? The best chefs in the world. You'll look at that and you'll probably begin doubting your own abilities. You may not think that you're a good enough cook anymore because one of the best in the world just showcased their talent in front of you and you know that you can't keep up or compete with that. This is exactly what I mean. There's It can be easy for someone to get discouraged and say that they're not good enough, that they can't do it, when in actuality, if you compare yourself to where you're at that moment compared to where you began with your cooking journey, it'll be night and day, because there was a point in time where you didn't know how to cook, where you didn't know how to make food, right? Obviously you were born as a baby and you grew up as a kid, so there was a point in time in your life where you didn't know how to cook, where you didn't know the temperatures to cook meat so it's edible and not raw, right? There was a time before you knew about food safety so you don't get no cross contamination and get sick, right? There was a point in time in your life where you didn't know all these things. And so if you compare yourself only to yourself, then that's still a journey to be proud of. You can still call yours, even if you know that you can't hang with Gordon Ramsay, you can't keep up with his culinary skills, and maybe he cooks food in half the time that it takes you to cook it, and his food tastes twice as good as yours. That doesn't take away from your journey, and you can still be happy and content with calling yourself a cook, because you can still be a great cook You don't have to be a Michelin star chef to call yourself a great cook, right? It's the same idea if you know, play an instrument, you play guitar, you can consider yourself, or better yet, a better example, if say you're a swimmer, right, and you consider yourself to be a good swimmer because you can swim across a large pool, right, you can, you know, float in water that's 8 feet deep. But some people, if they were to walk into a swimming pool and see, you know, Olympic swimmer Michael Phelps there and see how fast Michael Phelps swim and everything, they might begin to doubt their swimming ability. Where there's no reason to. You don't need to swim as well or as quickly as Michael Phelps to consider yourself to be a great swimmer, right? You can still be content and happy with knowing how to swim because there was a time in your life where you didn't know how to swim, and you could have found a lot of happiness and joy with finally learning how to swim, so that now you can feel comfortable in the water. And then when you go out to the beach or to the pool with friends and family, you're not worried. You don't feel uncomfortable going away from the ledge, right? You can have fun swimming, or you can use it as exercise or like as an activity, as leisure, right? As pleasure. This is what I mean. If you are constantly with the mentality of trying to compare yourself with other people, how can you enjoy what you have going on, right? And that's also the same with people and their finances. You can be up, you know, working towards putting yourself in a better financial situation, but then if you just compare yourself with the people who are billionaires, right, you're gonna feel bad, rather than looking at your situation and looking back and seeing how far you come to improve that situation. This is what I mean, right? This is why you should only focus on comparing yourself with who you were yesterday. Think of yourself at the very beginning stages when you were considered a newbie, right? Or a beginner. Look at from when you started then to the progress that you've made now, because that's all that matters, right? Your life is all that matters. Your life is yours to live, and you want to appreciate and be grateful for the things in your life, and be grateful for your growth and your improvement as a person, because that's what you should be focused on, right? Because you may be, for example, you may be a good swimmer, but Michael Phelps might be a million times better of a swimmer than you, but you might be a better cook than Michael Phelps because maybe Michael Phelps can't cook any food, right? Like, so everyone has their own pros and cons, everyone has their own strengths and weaknesses. So there's no reason for you to try to continuously compare yourself with other people, or try to be a one-on-one match with someone else. Appreciate your life and your journey, right? Because there's going to be times where you may think you're good at something, but there's always going to be someone that's better. There's always going to be someone that's richer. There's always going to be someone that probably is in a better physique, or probably might be deemed as more attractive in the eyes of society, right? There's always going to be someone who drives a more expensive or nicer car, or has a better watch than you. Who cares, right? No need to focus on that. The grass is always going to be green on the other side, but just focus on your plot of land, because you can be spending time building something great. You can be spending time becoming someone, becoming something great. And you can't do that if your eyes and your attention is always focused on something else or someone else, right? Learn to appreciate what you have, because comparison is the thief of joy, right? Compare yourself only to who you were yesterday, not to someone else today. Have yourself be your only attention. Only look back at the beginning of your journey. And the reason why you only compare you to yourself, is so that you can just measure your progress. And the progress is always what's most important. So that wraps up the video. If you enjoyed the video, do leave a like and subscribe, as we are on the road to 100 subscribers, guys. So I want you there on that journey with me to crush that milestone, because, guys, we are well on our way there, and we are going to obliterate it, and we are going to keep pushing past that. So this is only the beginning, guys. I'm telling you, it's only the beginning. So once again, guys, this is Joel, and I'm out. See you guys for the next video.